accessible to large audiences. And with the Kitchen Brigade, he created a smart and topical film, touchingly told, and touching on themes involving competitive cooking, reality TV, soccer, and of course, the migrant crisis. We first meet our protagonist, Kathy Marie, who appears to be a rather frustrated and somewhat stubborn sous chef for the popular chef, Lena, especially when Chef Lena changes her special dish of organ pipe beets during a TV taping, and Kathy quits. With no jobs in the offing, she decides to interview with a charming restaurant that she sees, only to discover that it's a hostel for teenage migrant boys, with a nightmare of a cafeteria kitchen run by a jaded humanitarian named Lorenzo. With urging from her friend Fatou, a wannabe actress, she takes the gig. Appalled by what she finds, but resigned to make it work, bringing in her own tools and transforming the canned food that the predominantly African and South Asian residents prefer into a more ambitious menu. But when Lorenzo tells her all they want is soccer and ravioli, and she retorts asking if migrants aren't entitled to good food, but scoffs when he says to use the boys, and he says what migrants can only play soccer. She realizes what she's up against, and of course, she'll have to whip them into shape with the help of another teacher, Sabine. While it follows familiar tropes of the comedy genre, it is both the performances by the leads and the kids themselves that make it a winning and compelling recipe. Through a number of montages, Kathy Marie insists on running it like a high-end restaurant, conducting her training and barking orders like a coach in a sports movie, using soccer metaphors for how they'll work. As a brigade with from as a brigade with from front of the house, defense, to garnish, striker, to dishwasher, who is, of course, in goal. And all the while teaching them the values of good food, how to grow it, know it, and finally prepare it. And as they learn the tenets of French cuisine, it grows into a metaphor for assimilation into French society. And assimilate they do, with faces and smiles that are completely disarming. But while the story begins with what she wants, it shifts over to what the boys need, and we begin to focus on who they are, especially Gus Gus, the youngest of the lot. Curious and wanting to shine, ever smiling, he writes down words he doesn't know and is the first to offer his help. And her first encounter with Jabril is anything but courteous. When she admonishes him and he walks off, she tells them, in my kitchen, no misogyny, no religion. Eventually, he too comes around when Lorenzo prods him to tell her about his desire to be a soccer player, and they bond. And unfortunately, his story will take a different direction. And there's Mamadou, who has Kathy Marie speak to his mother, who's in Africa. And there is that moment when she enters their dorm, and we hear each of their stories in voiceover of how they journeyed to France and the difficulty of these immigrant children. And when we see Lorenzo desperately trying to find a way to keep them from getting deported, with his plan to create a cooking school. We even see him in a soft delight. I love it when he asks the teacher, another teacher out for a drink. Even Sabine gets her spotlight, developing her relationship with Kathy Marie, who cannot laugh at their conversation from the two bedrooms, she gives her a boost of confidence, telling her that she's brave with her position at the hostel. And Sabine brings Kathy Marie out, learning she too was an orphan. But Sabine goes even further in a funny scene when she makes a reservation for Kim Kardashian's birthday at Kathy Marie's ex-boss's restaurant at Lena's, where they get to taste Kathy Marie's famous dish of pipe organ beets and learn the meaning of Proust's Madeline. And we saw Kathy Marie reading Proust before the event. Not to be wasted, the Proustian idea is extended when they prepare the recipes they each remember from their mothers. But of course, there is always drama when their ages have to be determined through bone x-rays and Jabril will be deported. And although we see a third act that does involve retribution for Kathy Marie when she becomes a finalist on the cook competition, but it's done with one clever twist, letting the boys shine, becoming stars in their own right. She became a true teacher in that moment. It ends up with a touching journey for all as Kathy Marie walks down that hall, proudly looking at the pictures of the boys, especially Mamadou, who's working for Guy Savoy, one of France's most famous chefs. And it is a pity most of them did get deported. And a transformation is complete. Who needs a restaurant when you can create great chefs of your own? Leaving us to reply, like Goose, yes, chef. Audrey Lamy, who portrays Kathy Marie, is well known as a TV actress and starred in the director's previous film, as she does another wonderful turn in this one, as does the great Francois Cluzet, who is one of France's most popular actors in both comedy and drama, and starred in the hit comedy, if you've seen it, and I'm sure most of you had, The Untouchables. And Chantal Neuwirth as Sabine is a very popular featured actress in many French films who has supported roles in many memorable moments. Yannick Colombo plays Goose, and has become an actor as a result. Mamadou Koita as Jabril also has become an actor, and Amadou Ba as Mamadou has also become an actor. The three of them are working now in TV and film, which is nice to say. I thought the cinematography was very well handled. The set was fabulous. It was probably shot, I couldn't get notes on it, it was probably shot in a real kitchen, the way things looked. But I love the idea of bringing in the TV chefs into the film, since Americans and French are hooked on cooking shows. It was a great idea. But I really enjoyed this film immensely, and I think it said a lot that should resonate with all of us, that these children, let alone the adults, shouldn't be wasted. They have something to give to this world. And unfortunately, they can't give it where they come from, but they can certainly give it where they come to. And we have to be cognizant of that fact. And it's important to educate them or keep their education going. And it's nice to see that they're not just going on to college, but they're going into vocations as well, which is an important aspect, especially in France, but here too. I can imagine, I don't know if I don't want them to, but I can imagine they doing a remake here in America wouldn't be quite as good. Well, also because we have to remember, France had colonies which they had to give up, and a lot of these emigres come from the colonies, even if it's illegally to try and come in. We didn't, so it's a little different. But anyway, there's my take on the film. I'd love to open this up. I'd love to have a discussion with you to see what you thought of it. Did you enjoy it? Did you laugh? Did you find it touching, which it was? I mean, I will admit I had a tear in my eye at the end of the film. It was wonderfully done, especially that last. I love Sabine standing there with the sign when she opens her coat. And she's standing on line. She doesn't say a word. I love Kathy Marie. Anyway, so let's open it up. Who wants to go first? Oh, Karen, I see your little hand up. Thank you.
Yep. I found it to be very uplifting. Let's see. Did I unmute? Yes, I did. I found it to be a very uplifting movie. It was very enjoyable. And I like the spotlight on the immigrant children, and how she evolved as well as the boys evolved doing the cooking. So that was my take on it. A great movie. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Arlette, I saw your hand up. You got to unmute, Arlette.
Okay. I like the transformation of Kathy being very stern and within her own means of how she should cook that particular beet dish, in the beginning of the show, and how she goes in there very robust to take on this job. But slowly she unfolds and you get to the innards that she is a human being with feelings. And it's very poignant what becomes of the immigrants and also Kathy. It just kind of comes together very slowly, but beautifully. It's a truly poignant movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Yes, it is, it starts off at a point where she's like desperate, and we see the blueprints on her wall. I mean, we get a lot of these little indications through the lens of what she wants to do. She has a dream of opening a restaurant. And that dream morphed into something else in the end, something even better, which is really the way to look at it. She doesn't have to give the world great food. She can give them great chefs. I thought that was a very interesting touch. Fran.
Hi, it's Fern.
Fern, I'm sorry.
I wanted to love the movie. I really did. Started off great. I thought maybe I had missed something midway when all of a sudden she's on the Cooks of France. It was like something was left on the cutting room floor. There was no mention of that show, that she was going to try to get onto it or aspire to be one of the 3 finalists. Did anybody else have that issue?
She got a letter. She got a letter.
I was gonna say.
Inviting her to be on the show.
Okay. Okay, maybe I went to the bathroom at that point.
If you remember, she was standing on line and she bypassed the line to go in.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Go back, watch it again.
I will go back and watch that part.
Okay, thank you, Fern.
You're welcome.
Jackie.
I'm sorry, this is the first time that I participate.
Oh.
Where did you watch the movie? Was it a YouTube or what?
Amazon.
On Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Or you can watch it on Canopy if you get Canopy.
Okay,
You don't get Canopy. Watch it on Amazon Prime.
thanks.
Okay, Jackie.
I was going to say, we really enjoyed it. It was light and yet still very poignant, and I liked that a lot. There were a lot of moments, you're right, when she opens her coat and does the flashing, that was funny. And another scene that I'm not really sure why I liked it so much, but it was when she was in her room smoking, and there's a knock on the door and she's frantically trying to wave away the smoke, which never works anyway.
Right.
And the boy came in and handed her the phone to talk to his mom.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I thought that was really nice. It was really an enjoyable movie, and I love the transition of the kitchen from total chaos to something that was really nice. So I thought it was a very uplifting movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, you had to love it when they come in to present the first meal and they wheel in the cart and the twigs, and they're doing a whole presentation. And also when they're interviewing, when she's giving them a mock interview to become servers, to do all of these things, and they're practicing. I mean, it's wonderful because the way it takes us through their education was terrific. Yes, thank you. Rosalie.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I thoroughly enjoyed the film. The night before, my husband and I had watched Zone of Interest.
Oy.
So
What a
Jay is
contrast.
right. And I was ready for something, that would lift me up and inspire me. And this was with a little humor. And this was the film. I loved it. I felt the director rushed it a little bit at the end. I would have liked to have seen it drawn out a little bit more, their victory,
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful choice.
Terrific. Well, sometimes it's, time constraints, and, they're only budgeted for so much. There's so many reasons why it could feel that way or why it happens that way. But I'm glad you watched it that way instead of vice versa, instead of seeing that first.
Oh my God. It it was a very unusual film and not enjoyable at all. I mean,
It's not meant to be. It's not meant
yeah,
to be.
I
It's-
know, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I understand how you feel, believe me.
Yeah.
Believe
Yeah.
me. But thank you. I'm glad this
Okay.
this
Thank
put
you.
you up.
Yeah.
A pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, Joy.
Hi, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It kept my interest from the beginning to the end to see how Kathy evolved. And to me, when the last scene is with a new group of immigrants, I thought that was so redeeming in the film, not just that you saw the children that were deported. Now she was starting all over again and doing what she did. And also when you learn her own personal background and you see why she's angry in the beginning and how she pushed and pushed to do the work she did and work very hard and thought that she was working for the best and they weren't paying attention to her. And so as she goes along, she gets a sense of herself. She really understands that she does have this ability to teach. And to me, the clever use of the soccer, to me, was brilliant because the boys understood that. And so she could teach right through the game. I thought that was brilliant.
That's terrific. Yes, absolutely. Not only that, but it just reminds me, you know, the film gets in, it covers all of them. You know, you can't go through all of the kids because it would become a much longer movie, but the kids it focuses on, I mean, especially Jabril. I mean, he's not a kid, you know, he's older and he wants to be a soccer player and he is good apparently. And we see her take an interest. She had no interest in soccer, take an interest in him and go to watch him play. And as disgusted as he is by the way he's treated. I thought that was interesting as well, as she begins to see, her whole world opens up with these kids. And, you know, and it causes her to reflect back on her own upbringing, you know, that she was in care, as they said. She was you know, in an orphanage, and where she learned her cooking skills. So she knew, you know, and that revived that in her. I mean, the direction of the film I thought was terrific. It was absolutely terrific in the directions that he took us with each of the characters.
Even seeing the faces of the children, the close-ups of their faces were unbelievable.
Yeah, it was well cast, well cast. Thank you, Joy. Barbara.
It was interesting to me. I recently watched The Bear. I don't know if anybody has watched it, which was also kitchen oriented, about somebody who takes over his family business and turns it into a fine dining establishment. And it won all sorts of awards. So it's a fun movie to watch. And it ties in so nicely with us in the haute cuisine. I liked everything. It was sweet. I particularly like Lorenzo, Francois Cluzet, the man who played Lorenzo, and Chantal Neuwirth, Sabina. I thought they were just terrific. And did I hear you say that those young people were not professional actors?
You're muted. Shelly,
can
you're
I-
muted. I don't know why you're muted.
I don't know how I got muted. I'm sorry. Yes, they weren't professional actors. They became professionals as a result of the film. They were cast in the film, and you're muted. Now you're muted, Barbara. Okay. You're still muted.
Hitting unmute.
There you go. Okay, leave it
Okay.
alone. Okay.
Won't touch anything else.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's interesting because Francois Cluzet essentially took a back seat in the film. I mean, he really was much more of a supporting character. And he usually is the star of the film. You know, and he is a terrific actor. He does comedy very well, does drama very well, but Chantal Neuwirth is always spot on with her comedy, and she was terrific here. She was terrific. I love it when she's
I love
carrying
that
all the
they-
luggage up the steps.
And the fact that she heard everything through the walls.
Yeah,
Even when she
yeah.
whispered, she said, "Not as well."
But she also, you know, that speaking about her as a character, it was wonderful how each of the things, you know, it's like food. You know, food brings out memory, but the film itself, the characters did that to each other. When she talks to Kathy Marie, when she has a discussion with her, she brings out in her, my father always told me I would never amount to anything. If you remember in the discussion, and
Yeah.
and she said, and I always wanted to travel, and now I travel, you know, through all of these things, you know, and in a sense, you know, she's doing something, and she's also doing something valuable by teaching them French the way she does. But it's a wonderful. Rounds out that character beautifully. It really was, and I love the production of the TV show at the end when they're standing there waiting for the restaurant to open.
Yeah, right.
And the guy is going nuts, and they're trying to figure out. And then when he walks in with the pictures on the wall, but you know, and you see the crew in the background going, "What's going on?"
And
They
he's
didn't know what to
ad-libbing.
do. The chaos it caused, but it was wonderfully done. I see other hands. Let's see. Oh, Aulette. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, Aulette, hold on. I want to hear Dora go. Dora deserves a chance. Go ahead, Dora.
I love a couple of like when they went around with those meat roasts. I thought that was beautiful, beautifully done. You know that they went so professional all around, and then she cut the meat and served the people. And also when they went to the restaurant she used to work for, it must have been a satisfaction for her that now she's bringing all these people. She's the chef. She's really the chef of the place, even though the place is not such a great place, but she's still, you know, the head chef. So and then she's gonna be training all these youngsters to be chef, and I think that gives her a great satisfaction.
Yes.
And I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, the film is, of course, the film is somewhat idealistic. I mean, there's no question about it. But why not? Why not?
Why not? I mean,
it's
yeah, it makes you feel good. I mean, it's a feel good movie that you watch it and you end up, you know, like maybe there's hope in the world for, you know,
absolutely
for some people.
absolutely.
Some people do good work, and it just a little bit. But I think if everybody would do just a little bit, the world would be a better place. But
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Arlette.
You know, in the beginning when Couscous, the little boy, when he was writing everything in his notebook, I thought that she would be like a mentor for him. And what disappointed me is later on, when all the young men got the assignments, what to do in this brigade kitchen, he ended up being a dishwasher. I was so disappointed. I really wanted him to have a very, very good part in cutting the vegetables or sauteing, but being a dishwasher. And from the very beginning, I thought she would be his mentor. He showed such interest from the beginning, and she ignored him.
Well, I think the way we have to, well, she didn't exactly ignore him, but I think the way we have to look at it, he was the youngest of the lot. He was a young kid. And I think, you know, and even though he was ambitious and he wanted to learn, she was teaching him. And she said, you have the most important position. You know, she tried to get, you know, tell him you're going to be the dishwasher. And he was loving it. He was covered in suds. I mean, he was enjoying every moment of it, but which is what a kid does. But it was the fact that at the end, when you see him come out, he's going to grow. He's going to grow. You know, he was wearing his little white jacket and he's going to grow. I think that was the point of having him there. You know,
Right.
it was to
And-
say that.
Yeah, and Sabine, oh, what a character. What warmth. She just gave out that warmth, those vibes to all the young men.
Yeah.
And everybody. There was just something so magical about her.
Terrific, terrific. Thank you. Rosalie?
She's muted.
You're muted, Rosalie. There
Okay,
you go.
her character, when she was first introduced in the film, she looked like, you know, a borderline character, like there was, you know, shy and looking for a friend, and she met him. She became a butterfly. Like her whole character changed. She had confidence, and she really understood people. I just love the way that she grew in the film, and especially the phone call. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
She was a great character, all that.
Yes,
Just
she was.
terrific.
She was. Well,
Yeah.
that was an example, you know, in terms of direction. I love that scene only because it's like it seemed natural. You know, at first she's standoffish, then she takes the phone and she starts to talk to her. And you know, she's trying to figure out, what do I say to this woman? And the woman, you got to try our spices. They're very important. And then, you know, talking to her in her own language, so to speak. And it made her comfortable. It made her it also made her realize who this kid standing in front of her was. You know, all of these we have to take into account. You know, when you look at characters on the screen, is what is their relationship? How is it evolving? How is it changing, transforming? And I think those are the kinds of things where you see that happen. That's in the writing. It's in the writing. Thank you, Rosalie.
you're
Jackie.
welcome.
Oh, I was gonna, well, the one thing that nobody has really talked about in it, and it seemed like a sad part, but a very realistic part, was the whole not image, but the whole issue of immigration. Some, just like everywhere else, some of them made it, some of them didn't. And one thing that I thought was unbelievably sad was that they actually resorted to testing them to see what their bone density was to check on their ages. I thought that was very deep, to be honest with you, and kind of sad and very moving.
It's very cold. I mean, you know, it's you know, here we are, you know, here they're using medical technology to get them out, you know, and to weed them out, so to speak. And it's a cold process, and it's something, you know, yes, we don't want to see that. But I think it's a cold, hard reality because it's very true that they do that. It's, you know, this is the, you know, but the fact is that they create that cutoff age, and therefore, you know, but I don't know, and I would hope that if they're in a situation where they would be in danger if they went back, they would let them stay, because there's always that, you know, that sort of situation that well, you have to prove certain things, but if you are in danger, if you go back to the country of origin, they can keep you where you are. So one would hope that would be the situation. So I don't know, but you're right. But that's part of the resonance of the film, I think, is the fact that we can appreciate it. Wherever you are, you can appreciate a story like this. And I think that's what's important about it. Thank you, Jackie. Joy?
It made me think of our own country and our immigration situation, and nothing being done for the immigrants coming in other than trying to find a place for them to sleep and eat. But you get no feeling that anyone is out there trying very hard to, you know, to work with them in any personal way. I thought that was really the contrast for me, so that they took the kids off the street and put them in this program. Remember, there were boys hanging around, and he said, go talk to
Yes.
them, and you know, it was a different kind of a situation. These kids were all on their own, hanging around and doing nothing. And the idea that they gave them a future by teaching them, by helping them to integrate into the society, at least, even if they went back, they brought with them skills.
Mhm.
And those skills, you know, could be even passed on to their own environment where they ended up. So, you know, that occurred to me. Yeah, I was impressed with her relationship with her friend, and that she kept listening finally to her friend's advice, who said, you have nothing else, go for it. And then later on brought her in on the situation. So she was part of that television deal that came across. I believe she was one of the models, or
Decorator.
right?
Decorator.
Oh, the
Yes.
decorator and so on.
Oh, yeah, well, that, yeah.
The other character who we didn't talk
Yeah,
very much about.
we didn't discuss her. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. She's the one that she encourages her to take the job, first of all. And she was very funny. She was really good comic relief with her
Yeah.
commercials, and she was bringing them to even to the cooking show, and she was a decorator,
Right.
all of those things. She was a wonderful supporting character. Another one of those great moments when she's taping her own commercials, her own,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
resume, so to speak.
Mhm.
Yeah. Terrific. Thank you. And thank you for reminding me of her. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else out there? Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Linda? You got on mute, Linda. Linda, unmute. There you go.
Reason that, yeah, because I had just unmuted a few minutes ago. But anyway, I don't have anything to add as far as the movie itself. I loved it, you know, just like everyone else has tonight and everything. And then I was going to talk about that immigration bit, and then that came in there before I spoke too. But I like that it put a human face on that, because I think so many people are just that we just can't have all these people. We just can't have all this stuff, and they forget what kind of people we're talking about, especially the unaccompanied minors. I've always, you know, been especially sympathetic to that situation. And I was wondering, in your research, Shelly, do you know if that's how France handles it, that they try to put them in programs? And then I was a little confused too, that I thought that if they didn't get in a program before they were 18, then they have to leave. But if they're in the program, do they get to stay then? Possibly,
yeah, if it's a vocational program, they'll get a visa to stay.
okay.
It's
That's
sporadic.
their actual program in France. This is a real way they're dealing with it.
I don't know if this particular one, like cooking, is real, but there
No,
are
but the
sporadic.
vocational.
Yeah, it's sporadic programs that they do have, because they do. France has a certain responsibility that we don't. Is towards which they took a long time ago, which is towards their colonies. You know, they
Okay.
had to give passports to those people. They had to let them in. Now, these kids weren't coming from, you know, specifically from colonies. They were coming from Africa. They were coming from other places. But yes, they do try to keep them off the streets, get them into programs. It's a situation which they've been dealing with. I mean, education is very important to them. So I think they do try and work with it.
Well, we're in need in this country with so many of these vocation type things too. So maybe that would be an answer for us, just to start forming more ways to do that.
Definitely.
Would make more sense.
Yeah, we seem to be good at pointing out the problem, not the solution.
Right.
And that's one of the problems that we have is not dealing with solutions. Or
Well,
the
I don't know
solutions
that
they
we're
come up
looking
with
for
really aren't
solutions. We're
solutions.
looking to just make it stop, and it's not gonna just
Yeah,
stop.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a lovely movie, kind of same type of theme as a lot of other movies where, you know, you
Yes.
get something that's very stern and then they go to love. We just watched The Holdovers, you know, at the library this week too, you know, which is a similar theme, but you never get tired of that when it's a successful thing and you see somebody melt and become a real nice person and then other people get lifted up too, you know, you always walk away from those feeling so good.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's their purpose. I mean, and I think it works. I mean, they're very humanistic in so many ways, you know, that it's, you know, people can knock them and say there's some of them are cliched, some of them, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's serving a purpose. And if it
Right.
makes us feel good, if it makes us smile, why not?
And things you thought that the kids would have never been interested in, but yet they
Yes.
will. You know, you give
Yep.
them something to learn, and I think that's human nature. If you get people that build you up and you feel better about yourself just because you've learned something,
Yeah,
you know, that's
exactly.
useful. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was a lovely movie. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else out there have something they'd like to say? Anybody going once, going twice?
It's not a controversial movie. That's the problem. We always talk.
Yeah, I
longer
guess
if there's
that's
controversy, but
well, it's a
nobody has
feel-good
anything bad to
movie, you
say.
know.
Right.
People walk away, I felt good. It's terrific. Thank you. You know.
Yeah.
But I want you to understand when you watch a movie, it's all on the screen. You know,
Right.
look on the screen, look into the screen, and it's up there for a reason. Things are happening for a reason. You know, we make references. You know, Barbara brought up the bear. It's nothing like this. It gets into much more dramatic territory, but it is also about cooking, and it's about food, and it's about the transmission of food. It's also about the craziness of food, but and building a restaurant. So they're good shows. That's a very good show. The characters in that are tremendous. But yeah, I think, you know, just look at that screen and look into it, and that's what you get. Rosalie?
I just have a quick question. What's the next film for the next Zoom meeting?
I would get to that. I'm getting
Oh,
to
okay.
that. The next,
I'm so enthusiastic about seeing the next one because I enjoyed the
thank you for that introduction. Okay, the next film is, we're moving into a new theme for March. As you know, every month we try and have a different theme. The theme for March is art and the moving image, which is the cinema of artists' lives. You know, art and cinema naturally are, inextricably linked, both both employing masterful techniques to create fascinating stories and evoke powerful emotions. And the film from March 13th is Seraphine. Seraphine. It's from France. It was the winner of, it's from 2008. It was the winner of 9 major international awards for Best Actress. And it won seven French Academy Awards for direction, for screenplay, cinematography, acting. It is an imaginative and poignant portrait of this is a true story, of a forgotten artist. And it is a testament to creativity and the resilience of one woman's spirit. Seraphine de Saint-Louis, or Seraphine Louis, as she was known, was a simple housekeeper whose brilliantly colorful canvases adorned some of the most famous galleries in the world. In 1913, a chance discovery becomes the basis for an unexpected relationship between an avant-garde art dealer and a visionary cleaning lady. It is a beautiful story, beautifully filmed and wonderfully acted, and it reveals one of the early 20th century's most overlooked artists. She does hang in many museums in the world. You'll find her art is different. and what constituted that difference. Those are the things we'll be discussing when we discuss the movie. I am sure it should move you in certain ways. The music is beautiful, the production values, everything works in that film. So I'll look forward to discussing that film with you. Is there anything else, any other business we'd like to take care of?
Prime again?
2 weeks.
No.
March 13th. Oh, and where will it be? Well, you can see it on Canopy.
Yeah.
I think it's available on Tubi. Let me check. I will check for you. By the way, if none of you have yet gotten a website, it's a website and it's an app called justwatch.com. You can put in the title of a film and it'll tell you where it's playing on TV.
Oh, good.
Is that free, Shelley?
Yes, it's free. It's free. Okay, and Seraphine is available on Canopy, Hoopla, Tubi. Let's see. If you get Ovid, Plex, and it's available for $2.99 on Amazon and elsewhere. But you can watch it. I don't mind watching them with commercials, so you can get it on Tubi. And I find Tubi's become very good about not doing too many commercials. So it's good to have a break at our age.
I think Arlette may have had her hand up. Arlette.
Oh,
I
I'm
did.
sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Arlette.
Well, this is just, laughter is good for the soul. And everything that we're experiencing in life today around the world, we certainly need it. And again, I
Yes.
thank you for this film. As I said, it was just wonderful and heartwarming. And of course, we get the endorphins working to make us feel well. So we can
Yes.
continue watching your films, and we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Arlette. I appreciate that. Okay, Sandra, do you have your hand up? Sandra Fuss? Where'd she go?
Mhm. Evidently not.
Yeah, I guess not. She left? No, she's there, but, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Well, I guess
Shelley,
that.
just have a
yeah.
question. Was it to see the streaming devices for the films? What I know was Watch was in it. Is it To Watch, The Watch?
No, just watch.com.
Oh, Just Watch. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
justwatch.com.
Okay.
So if nobody has anything else to say, Shelley, of course, we always love seeing you. We thank
Right.
everybody for joining us. It was a wonderful movie. I think everybody loved it. So thank you very much. And you guys have a nice evening. We will see you next month, as a matter of
And
fact. So, yeah,
Yes.
because it's leap year this year. So
that's right.
there you go. So
Yeah,
enjoy that
get an extra day
in
tomorrow.
February. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jackie, and
Good
thank you,
night. Thank you.
everybody, for
Thank
coming.
you, Shelley.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate all the movies you show because they are just
Ditto.
great.
Yes,
Thank you,
ditto.
Guru.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it very much.
Everybody be
Bye-bye.
well and safe. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Night, everybody.
Good
Night.
night.
Good night.
Jackie,
Yes, dear.
you
Oh,
did great.
yay. So I did okay being Marilyn, are you saying?
Who's Marilyn?
Oh, you have to.
You did a great job. You did a
You have
great
to
job.
stop the.
Bravo.
Thank you, guys. We will
You
see
have to
you
stop the
later.
recording.
Okay.